Hey, it's just me, Bob, here, and this is the story of how I met your mother. And I'm saying that because I know your mom, which means you're my bastard child. This is something I've been wanting to do, which is be in a bunker and do a podcast. If you're affected by this coronavirus, just do all the things they're saying to do and get tested. I get tested constantly. Well, I took my SAT test again. You get 200 points for your name, and then the rest was just hell. I don't know which is worse, the coronavirus or taking your SATs. I'm torn. I'm torn because I ran out of toilet paper, so I was just using the cardboard things. So I'm torn. I have a fissure. But I'm lucky I have a Jim at home. His name is Jim Cohen. He stays in the house under the stairs. We're not letting him out. We throw some meat in there. And I'm also lucky that I'm streaming on shows that I never wanted to watch. So you're suddenly into a program that you're going, oh my God, this isn't that good, but I don't care. Just get me through this time.
This episode of the Opie Radio Podcast, sponsored by BetterHelp.com/Opie, O-P-I-E. Get 10% off your first month. And now on with the show. Hello?
Bob Saget.
Hi, Bob Saget. How are you?
I'm damn good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm mad because you just interrupted me because I was listening to your first episode of your podcast. Bob Saget's here for you.
Oh, my God. Want me to call you back so you can finish it?
I was enjoying it, but wow, you cover a lot of ground on your podcast, Mr. Saget.
The first episode was just kind of really an intro, going all over the place, and then coming back to the subject at hand, which is, what the hell are we doing right now? Are you safe? Are you doing okay?
Well, thanks for asking, Bob Saget. Man, I miss you. I miss the.
I have a two-part name. I'm not just Bob anymore, or Saget.
No, I like calling you Bob Saget, even though I've known you for a long time. I miss the.
Yeah, I've known you forever.
I miss the simpler times when you used to do the radio show, and then we'd walk up. What would it be? 6th Avenue, I guess, and everybody would recognize you and want pictures and. A 15-minute walk would take probably an hour because everybody wants their time with Bob Saget. And then we'd go
It took me a year to understand what that walk was about. Then I realized you have two shows going. I didn't know.
Oh, I'm talking about when I was at Sirius XM and we'd walk up to the Parker Meridian and we'd have a lovely, lovely breakfast after the radio show. And
that's true.
Remember the waiter with the bad hairpiece?
He was very strange, and he was something out of some British popular binging show right now. I don't know what his deal was. He wasn't British, but yeah. He felt like a Monty Python character.
Oh, 100%. I got to tell you, though, I learned a lot from that guy because he owned the bad hairpiece. It looked like, what did it look like? Can you describe it?
It looked like an omelet with too much kale and mushrooms in it.
Exactly. But I learned from the guy because he owned it, man. That guy had a lot of confidence.
He was very popular. It was ladies that were shopping and then would go there for the brunch because it was like a big deal there or something. I don't know.
100%. But I mention that because that's what I mean by simpler times when we didn't really have any worries in the world. To answer your question, I'm safe. I'm blessed to have another house far, far away from New York City. And we ran out of there about a month and a half ago. And I can honestly tell you, I don't know when I return. I mean, it's crazy in New York City.
Yeah, I've got two daughters there. I've got one in Brooklyn. And I know that people are outside, thousands of people still partying, young people, and they don't care. They're not observing the social distance. Where's the curve going to go? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to believe anymore. Nobody knows anything. You watch Mario Cuomo, he tells you that he has it, he tested positive, he's over it, but he's still positive. Yeah. So I like that he's positive. I just don't like he's positive with coronavirus. But
right. Wait, are you talking about Chris Cuomo from CNN?
Oh, I meant Chris Cuomo. Sorry.
Yeah.
I meant Super Mario Cuomo.
Yeah. I like
killing
Cuomo.
a disease with a mallet and getting 10 points.
Yeah, I know over the years you don't like talking politics, and I'll respect that. And
when I go to politics, I get names wrong. That's how much I can't do. My brain zones out while I'm saying something, so I apologize.
100%. I don't really, I'll just say this, I don't really believe in a party in general, but I do have to say the governor of New York, Cuomo, there is doing a good job with those press conferences.
Yeah, and that's what we want to know right now is that people, we all know people. I know people, you know people.
Yeah.
I know people that have died or they've lost a grandmother or a mother or a kid.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of those. That's like, what?
Yeah.
What is this? And is this virus 2.0? And is there going to be 3.0 is Cloverfield, and then 4.0 is you disintegrate when you open your door? I don't know. There is something that a lot of us have said we like about it, which is weirdly odd, which is it brings people together, and all of a sudden you're talking to people that you would never talk to because we were all so busy doing our thing, and it just makes you reflect and appreciate stuff more. With me, it's my wife and I in my house in L.A., daughters everywhere but here, wishing I could hug them, wishing I could see them.
Yeah.
And then I decided to go into your field of business, but not even meaning to. What happened to me was, like 3 years ago, there was all of a sudden more anger than we're used to in the country.
Sure.
And it was all over the place. It was coming from everywhere. And then I just went, I can't take this anymore. I've got a tour. And I didn't even want a tour. But then I went, I feel like they need me. It's like the Blues Brothers that knock on the door and go, we're on a mission from God.
Oh,
yeah.
Love that.
I just felt like I got to make people laugh. And that's what you are always part of. That's all of our background together.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Bill Burr for this podcast, and we were talking about the virus tour, and I was talking about how when we were out there at the Tweeter Center in Camden, how the audience booed him, and that was the start of his career. I mean, it was literally when people went, this guy is a warrior. Who the hell is this guy? And he was so hilarious. He was like, I just did it last week with him, and he just goes, I don't know what you're talking about, Bob. And then he went off on me, and this will be on my podcast, which I'll be talking about because I'm a hoe.
Yeah.
But and thanks for having me on.
No worries,
it's good
man.
to hear your voice.
Absolutely.
But he just kept going. You know what your act is, Bob? Your act. He just started roasting me. I said, Bill, come on, it's quarantine. We're friends. He said, we're not friends, Bob. I said, you came to my wedding. I said, you left my wedding to do a benefit and came back in a pink jacket. You changed. He said, that doesn't mean I like you.
Oh, my God.
And then he went off on saying that my stand-up was nothing more than the lines from Full House that they cut out, and I just say fuck around them a lot.
Oh, that's a funny way to put it, although not fair. I mean...
It's not true, but it's hilarious.
It is hilarious. We hung out at Westbury Music Fair. They used to call it that. You invited me personally there, and it was really, really nice. And I never saw you stand up before. And I knew you from the radio show, of course, and being a family man on TV and all that. Had no idea that your comedy was a bit blue at times and dirty and hilarious, by the way. And I'm at the Westbury Music Fair, and you're doing comedy in the round. And people were walking because they had no idea that they were going to see a different Bob Saget. And they
thought I was under the big top. It was going to be entertainment.
No, it wasn't.
I'm less R-rated now, but that was it. It was actually a fun show. I mean, I enjoyed the show, and I don't care. If somebody gets offended because they think I'm going to be Danny Tanner, I'm him now. I'm cleaning everything all day long.
I was going to ask you about that. Yes. You're following your character more than ever these days, I would assume.
It's funny because we did a thing, the whole Full House cast, we did a thing where the producer, original creator, Jeff Franklin, said, hey, all of a sudden there's a text trail with Stamos and Dave Coulier and Candace and Jody and Andrea, and let's redo the credits. Okay, so Stamos does his hair because he's number one on the call sheet, so he's first.
Okay.
And then I come up and I put Purell on my hands, and then I clean a mop handle. Now, if I've got Purell and I'm stroking a mop handle, even for a second,
right?
Basically, Candace had to text me back and say, Bob, we need a different take. we can't use that one because you rolled your eyes back. So,
Right.
You don't roll your eyes back when you're doing an opening title for a family show parody. But,
right.
Except I just had a guy, because I have a rat problem at my house. He came by, and he's got on the mask looking like he's from Mad Max. Sorry, I'm really tired.
Oh, it's okay, man.
He's from Mad Mask. He's got a very angry mask.
Yeah.
And he came in and into the house, and I'm, I don't know. It was just these are my tortures of social distance, which makes me feel bad that I'm like, you got cooties or something.
Yeah, you let someone in your house with a mask on?
I did.
You're
had the rat guy.
crazy. You're nuts. Yeah, no, I got up to that point on your first episode. You talk about the rats in your air conditioner, and it makes me happy that someone like you, Bob Saget, you got a...
Yeah, 3 air conditioners. We had to have them replaced, and that was years ago, but now I had to let him in, so I hope I don't get nothing, but he's told me he's got kids, and he's got a mom who's diabetic, and you get the whole story because we're all just people now.
Yes.
And that's what we should be anyway.
We should have always
But
just
a lot
been
of us
people.
don't want to be bothered by people, so, and we're finding out that we really are in this boat together, and I was 9 feet away from him. One point I was like 3 feet away from him, so that's where I'm going to go gargle with gasoline. But
exactly. Well,
but the podcast was something that just organically happened. I was able to do 2 episodes in the studio, and that's on the YouTube site. But then that's it. I did the rest. I got the full board at home. How many do you do a week? What do you do?
Well, now I'm up to 3 a week because I can't stay away from it. I mean, this is what I do. This is what I've always done for a living, and
it's your life. I mean, it's you're great at it.
Oh, thank you, Bob Saget. I appreciate that. How's being married, man? I think you've been married like almost 4 years, 4 years now, right?
We're 2 years. We're 2 years, but we're together 4 years, but maybe it's 5 years and 3 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that we're getting along.
That's good.
That's although I wasn't too kind the other night, so I was in the doghouse. And by self-admission, I was just being argumentative and looking for stuff. But that's when you have a roommate 24/7.
Yeah.
That's just too much.
Can I ask you what it was about?
What was it about? That's the big joke, right?
Yeah.
You don't remember.
Of course.
I think it's how we spoke to each other and how buttons get pushed.
Yeah.
I like to talk things out. I've been through enough therapy, so I want to talk it out. They always say not to go to bed angry. Well, I require chloroform for that. So, how about you? How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. I got 2 kids. They're getting older now. Wow, they're my son's going to be 10 right around the corner, and my daughter is 7. And me and my wife been together now, going on 16 years.
Oh my God!
That's
I remember
crazy.
when you guys just met.
I know.
I remember.
Yeah.
Before you met her.
Yes, that was around the virus tour and all that stuff back in the day. So
holy God!
I know, time's just flying by, man. And I'm
and I know, and I'm 63, and I'm like, shit, I'm gonna die.
Why are we laughing at that?
Not from the exterminator or the corona, but
right. I bet you do what I do. You start doing the math in your head, and you're like, this math doesn't work out anymore. There was a time you were like, 20 years is nothing. And now you look at it like, oh, boy.
Well, that's why we got all these people that are 18, 19, 20 years old going, nothing's going to kill me, and they're all throwing up on each other and having fun. And this ain't the time to do that.
No.
Especially in New York City or L.A. I mean, it's just... and everybody knows we're going to get through it, but it's like we could get through it quicker if people don't do dumb shit,
Well, can I play the other side of that? You know damn well if you were their age, and I know if I was their age, I hate to be the one to say this, but I think I would be the guy, going about my life not too worried about it. And I know that is so selfish, and certainly with age, I have a much better perspective on all that, but back in the day, you just thought you were indestructible. You remember those days.
I really did. And I was depressed my whole 20s because I was bombing and trying to get a job. And then when I did great, I would go on after Robin Williams at the Comedy Store in L.A. and think I was doing amazing and didn't have a job.
Right.
And then finally when things started to happen, then it was like, here I am in commercial television, and that's a big gift. But then other people go, you sold your soul because you're funny. And I'm like, no, there's different things I can do. I'm allowed to do this too. Can I do this and pay for my kids' college and take care of everything when everybody's out of work?
Yeah.
This is a hard ass time right now.
Oh, it's such a hard ass time that I changed my phone numbers.
That is a hard ass time. I mean, what I've done is I'm a block number. So
good.
I've done something weird with this podcast, which you've been doing your whole life, which is you've been calling people, you get calls.
Yeah.
So I've got a thing. It's in my thing on the Apple Podcast. Got a phone number. They leave messages, what they want to talk about. So I'm calling people. I am one by one growing an audience, but it's so interesting because of the time we're in. I'll call one person and she'll say she's a nurse and she saw a patient die today and she's got an autistic son. I'm not going to be doing dick jokes on that, I'm talking to her, and It's the same thing when that's what you do. You're a broadcaster, and so you care about people. I don't get jerks because I'm not calling back someone that goes, I hate you.
Yeah, of course.
Or I saw you with a girl when, 30 years ago, that kind of crap. Yeah. Even when I would go on your show, people would always call and accuse me of some heinous act.
That might have been my phone call. I'll stop calling your number. We went on dates. You remember that?
Yeah.
We went on dates, and they seemed like lovely women to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and there are people that say I've been on dates with them, and I wasn't. And then I remember one time when Two Girls in a Cup first came out.
Oh, yeah.
You guys made me and Jeff Ross sit there and watch it.
You remember
and
that?
That's like, I had just had like a breakfast sandwich.
Right.
And it was like, that was a very memorable moment. That's almost like the Zapruder film.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of good times. I got to ask you, because you said something in there, and I just want to follow up. You were in a comic with Robin Williams and the rest of them, and I can't imagine that someone like you ever struggled, but obviously you did. How old were you when you truly hit?
Well, I had a bunch of different little dry heaves of success. When I was 21, I won the Student Academy Award for a movie I made in Temple University in Philly. So I went out to LA, and I was going to go to USC grad school and make movies, and then I quit to be a stand-up because my first MC was Letterman.
Yeah.
And on the bill that night was, Robin Williams, Richard Pryor, Billy Crystal, Michael Keaton. It's like, it was insane.
Wow.
And that was there's a big boom now, was.
Yeah.
And will be again, because people are going to need comedy more than ever when we're allowed to go do what we do. But back then, it was, struggling. I'd get a guest spot. And then Rodney Dangerfield put me on his Young Comedian special, the very first one.
Right.
And that was with Sam Kinison, who I introduced to Rodney.
Yeah.
And Rita Rudner and Louis Anderson and Richie Gold and Bob Nelson. And that was on HBO. So that was a little bit of the first break. And then another one came when I was in Richard Pryor's movie Critical Condition.
Right.
And that was a big deal. And then I got this morning program on CBS. All of a sudden, I was on against the Today Show and Good Morning America. And they said I was too hot for morning TV, so they fired me. And then I got Full House when I was 29 and flew back from New York to L.A. and did the pilot again because they had another guy cast, and they recast it, which is kind of cruel, but that's how people do things in showbiz. And then I would say Full House, and then a year later I was hosting America's Funniest Home Videos. So I was the guy with the two commercial family shows that are still running. Full House has never gone off the air.
Who was the guy that you replaced? Have you ever mentioned his name?
He's a nice guy. I don't know him. But they did something real stupid. They put out a box set.
Yeah.
And they put the pilot in it without me in it with the other gentleman.
Oh, God.
And it's just not right. It's just, everybody, no matter what they do, has, a TMZ mentality. We're really down to the wire on that now. Everything's TMZ and true Hollywood story kind of garbage,
Yeah.
It's all about celebrity.
Well, did that guy ever have a career after that, though, on any level?
I think he didn't want one. I think I know he went into management for a while.
Yeah.
I know more about him than I'd want to. He seems like such a good guy. I've got like this thing where I'd like to hire him one day if I have something that would be right, but I don't know if he's acting. But I'll find out.
Yeah.
I feel like I owe him a lunch.
You think?
But I mean, they did it a lot. I mean, originally, Perfect Strangers was Louis Anderson.
So they replaced Louis
John
Anderson?
Byner was originally Mork and Mindy.
No kidding. I didn't know any of this. Yeah.
So, and then Robin it was unbelievable. He was like a rocket that took off.
Yeah.
I mean, why would Happy Days put a guy on to play Mork from Ork? In a show that was based in 50s reality, all of a sudden a Martian comes there. Because they said it doesn't matter. This guy's talent is bigger than the plot line of a series that's been running for years and is established in 50s reality.
Yeah. I remember that, and I remember thinking, wow, this doesn't really make sense, but he was so freaking funny. And yeah, fast forward not much time after that, and he was just a massive, massive star. God. What do you remember about Robin Williams? Were you guys close after?
Many things.
Yeah.
Because for years, as you know, I've done my Scleroderma Research Foundation benefits, and we've raised over $50 million, $53 million in the past 30 years that has gone to research, right to research, to help people and find the cure for the disease. And Robin did the benefits 7 times.
Wow.
So he did the very first one also before I was on board. And then I did it before my sister was even sick. I was hosting it. And then all of a sudden we find out my sister's got some weird disease, and scleroderma is hardening of the skin. And not unlike coronavirus, you die from lungs, pulmonary hypertension, your lungs harden.
Yeah.
So Robin was just this guy who would do anything for anybody that he could. And he did it 7 times. He would just show up every couple of years. What do you need, Chief? I'll do whatever you need. I said, Rob, could you not do that bit about cunnilingus where you eat out of your elbow? Because Sharon Motsky, our founder, she was like, Bob, tell Robin not to do the bit where he performs cunnilingus on his inside of his elbow.
Yeah.
And I told him, and of course he misunderstood. But he was, it's, if you only, I've said this a bunch of times, if you only saw his movies, if you never saw his stand-up, you'd go, oh my God, this is one of the most amazing people ever, from Dead Poets to Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember 9/11, the night they kept showing the buildings coming down all day. We'd seen it all day since 6:30 in the morning. And then one network, Fox Network, not news, but the network, ran Mrs. Doubtfire while every other network just kept running the same footage and showed more footage. And I just watched Mrs. Doubtfire, and I went, that was like a blessing.
Yes.
That was like, thank you, Fox, for running that. And it was about him trying to get his kids back so much. He loved his kids so much he dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire, which was movie iconic. And family. It was made for families, and yet, because it was him, it had a hipness to it. He just had it. There's nothing... There will never be enough. Every 100 years, we have him. Someone like him, something unusual, something special. And every 100 years, we have another virus that wants to wipe out people.
Oh my God! Exactly. With Robin Williams, he was so funny, but you also felt his characters deeply. Man, he showed just raw emotion. Right? He was very vulnerable in a lot of those roles, which made him even him even greater than he was. I sort of met him in Central Park once when we were both biking, and we were stopped at a red light. I guess I'm trying to connect myself to this, which is ridiculous, but I was so starstruck, and I was lucky enough to have so many famous people on the radio show over the years, and it was very rare I was actually starstruck. But when I saw him in Central Park, I was just like, oh my God. And then fast forward, when I found the news he died, man, I cried like a baby. And I didn't even know him personally.
Right. It was beyond bad, because he shouldn't be gone.
Right.
And And the way he died, that wasn't everybody that was close. That wasn't him.
No.
We all know when people have. In his case, I'm not even sure. It's like misquoting everything that's going on right now. He had a very rare brain problem, diseased situation, and also the mental health of it all. And I heard all different stories, but all I know is that wasn't him that took his own life. That's not even what happened. And anybody that knows anything about mental illness, and this had elements of it to it, not in his control, nothing he could do. It's what happened to him.
Yeah.
That people that do take their own life, sometimes it literally is not them.
Right.
It's just not them. Mental health is completely, and it's funny because I've been talking about it quite a bit. I lost a sister at 34 years old who was schizophrenic, and not the one that died of scleroderma, another one. I've had an easy life. And
I don't mean to laugh. That's an uncomfortable laugh, by the way.
It's not good, but it does make you a comedian if you're not going to,
of course,
take yourself out.
Yeah.
But that alone made me understand. And Howie Mandel was talking about it. He wrote a book about it because his OCD stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I say he's a prophet now. Don't touch anybody. Don't come near me. I mean, he's Moses.
Yeah.
He's Moses of the pandemic.
Yeah, he's the poster child.
So we had a 90-minute conversation talking about this shit, and it's just he's a really good guy. You met him over the years, right?
Yes. Howie's always been very generous with his time and did the show, every time he was in New York. So, and we love him on America's Got Talent. Me and the kids watch that show. We love him. Hold on a second, Bob Saget. I got to welcome a brand new sponsor to the Opie Radio podcast, BetterHelp. H-E-L-P, BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness or is preventing you from achieving your goals? Yes, the coronavirus! I'm anxiety-ridden! BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. It's professional counseling done securely. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. Social distancing! This is perfect because we can't leave our houses and you need someone to talk to and you can't sit in a waiting room somewhere waiting for a therapist. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. This is perfect for you, my friends. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit their website and read their testimonials that are posted daily. I was going through them, man. People really, really like BetterHelp, and it's certainly helping during these, trying times. Visit BetterHelp.com/Opie. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, BetterHelp.com/Opie, and join the over 800,000 people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Special offer for my listeners, you, my friends. You get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/Opie. Support the sponsors when you can. Thank you. And welcome aboard, BetterHelp. One more and we'll get back to Bob Saget. Hawthorne. What's up, Hawthorne? I got a cologne from these guys, and I freaking love it. And I'm getting compliments, too. I mean, they're weird compliments. My wife actually said, "You don't smell like the bathroom spray anymore." Hawthorne, doing things right, man. They got colognes online, and they got shampoos and face cleansers and all sorts of things. And it's a very, very good concept. Basically, you go on their website, you take a quick 2-minute quiz, and Hawthorne tells you the 2 colognes that are best for you, one for work and one for play. That's what I got. And they ask questions like, what kind of smells you like? And I'm like, I don't like flowery. I kind of like sandalwood. I kind of like lavender or a little orange. And then they kind of mix and match, and they put something together that's perfect for you. Very, very personalized. And, man, I got the colognes and put them on right away, and I absolutely love them. And I also did it with a shampoo. They asked some questions about that. Do you have the dry hair? Do you have the oily hair? Do you have any hair? So he answers some quick questions. It's kind of fun, actually. And then next thing you know, man, they send you a shampoo that's right for you, and they do it with the cleansers and a bunch of other things. I like the Hawthorne. All right, check out Hawthorne at hawthorne.co. That's Hawthorne. Let me spell that out for you. HAWTHORNE.co. And use my promo code Opie to get 10% off your first purchase. That's hawthorne.co. And use the promo code Opie to get 10% off your purchase. The link is in the description of this episode. Now back to Bob Saget. Bob, I got to say that I've known you, I don't know, off and on 20 years, and I like this version of you.
Oh, man.
I like this version of you because you were always entertaining on the radio, but you're, wow, man, you're like in touch with a lot of things, and you're going a bit deeper, and I think your podcast is going to be successful, man. I like this. I like that you're opening up like this.
Thanks. I grew up,
Finally, now that you're in your 60s.
I think it has to do with my being married to a woman who is got good values, has a great family.
Yeah.
But it also has to do with who I am and having hardships and having 3 daughters and just growing up and wanting to do work and having less time for nonsense.
Right.
Having less time to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
That's just not what I want to do. And finding out how many people truly, this sounds so Sally Field, but like me for what they can receive of me from the accumulation of the work I've done over all these years.
Yeah.
So, and that's why the podcast is like a natural thing, or would be an interview show, or, because I turn to some of the late night hosts and I feel good,
Yeah.
They make me feel better. I'll watch Kimmel, or I'll watch Steven, or I'll watch John Oliver, and I'm feeling better, when you're not showboating and having to entertain and tap dance for the public, which is usually when it's up and running, although many of them get very emotional and very real before the pandemic.
Sure.
We were up and running. I just have that gene, and it just was under the surface for a long time. I was like that a lot. When I'm directing something, I'm like that. Or when I'm acting in a certain role, I'm like that. But I wasn't always like that when I'd come on a show to promote something comedic I was doing, whether it be a special or a role. It's always been there. I mean, I made a movie about my sister dying of scleroderma called For Hope years ago. So there's always been that element of it. But now I'm kind of full-time that. So when I call people and talk to them, I'll talk to a guy who says he's from Iraq and he got here 7 years ago and he had a rough time and his family just wanted a better life and they're citizens. And we talked about, hey, we could have been in a war. If it hadn't have been for this pandemic, it looked like we were headed toward an actual war. But the thing was, the guy was stoned from the moment I called him. So it was a 35-minute phone call with this guy that giggled
right.
over the most
horrific things. Right.
It was so great. It was like, oh, this is what you call good broadcasting, or it's not even broadcasting. It's just conversation.
Well, that's what I miss about the radio show, because every day just going to the phones, it was so exciting because you just didn't know what you were going to get. Sometimes you found people that were incredibly funny, incredibly angry, incredibly smart, fascinating,
right.
And every day it was different. And I kind of miss that as far as going in and doing a radio show every day. But I don't know.
Well, you could set it up with what you're doing now. There are ways to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to start heading in that direction a little bit. But
you're great talking to people, and people love you. So,
thanks, Bob.
It's just weird what show business does, isn't it? It's like, it's just so fascinating to me because and Edward James Olmos told me about this years ago, and I wrote this in this book, Dirty Daddy, which did pretty well. And he had said to me, I met him at Gray Davis's inaugural, the short-lived governor of California, who was removed from office like soon after he was put in. But I performed at this big convention center in Sacramento, and I went there with the Schwarzeneggers, and it was like a whole big thing. And so Edward James Olmos said, here's the secret to show business. First, you're trying to get known. Then you finally get known. That takes 10 years. Then people fall in love with you. Then they fall out of favor. And then you come crashing down for 10 years, and it's not working for 10 years. And then 10 years later, you find out they want you back. So you have a second coming, and you get to come back. Yeah. And then that last 10 years, I added up the years, and he was 120 years old.
Exactly.
That he was the undead.
Right.
That he figured out. You just keep falling out of favor and coming back, and they like you and they don't like you. And
yeah, I'm at that level where they're starting to ask me to come back, and I
figured that. I had a feeling of that.
I don't know, man, Bob. I gotta say it, and maybe you can relate, and maybe not. And I just want you to be honest. As you know, I had a very successful radio career. Made stupid money. That's why I'm lucky and blessed that I have another house, thank God, so I don't have to live in New York City, because that's just scaring the hell out of me and my family. And I worry about all the people that are stuck there, including your kids. But I'm having more fun now, and I don't talk to as many people. Don't hang up. I still have an audience, but not like the old days. And I don't really make that much money, but for some reason, this is where I need to be and want to be. I'm just having so much more fun.
Why can't you make that happen? Because you have a talent that not many people have. Everybody thinks it's something that anybody can do.
Sure.
And when you look at the list of people that do podcasts or do Sirius or do, free radio, forget it. You've got to go into a studio. That's a world you don't want anything to do with.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people doing it, but a lot of them are just filling time and they're sweaty.
Oh yeah, and they don't have the passion for it.
So hard to follow the script. It's like,
I'll be honest, Sirius came sniffing around right before the coronavirus, hit. Just sniffing around because they know the podcast I'm doing is doing very, very well, and I'm like, I think I'll make another run at it. It'll be in my terms, and if it happens again, great. But I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that if it never happens again, I'm happy just doing this,
Right.
I feel like I'm living my true self finally. I felt like I was, dare I say, playing a character because that's what the audience demanded. They wanted the shock jock, and they wanted, all the craziness and stuff. And I don't regret any of that stuff whatsoever. I don't go through life with many regrets because, you grow as a person and you shed layers of yourself, and I'm a different person now. So I look back and...
Yeah, you're more mature. You've been through a lot. Your priorities are straight. But you also aren't going, hey, let's do this whole porn segment.
Oh, God,
which is where everybody started. That's where we were 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And you look what Howard was doing. I mean, it came out of porn. I mean, and then he turned into what, some people say is the best interviewer of all time. And, and then you look at what your old compadres are doing, and people are trying to keep afloat with what seems to work.
Right.
And then there's so many different avenues. You always felt to me as the one that was, I felt more of a kinship to.
Yeah.
Not that I don't always laugh at Jim Norton because he's a comedian, so I've always been close with Jim. He actually said something funny the other day on Twitter about the everybody singing "Imagine," all the stars, and he said that video really choked me up. In fact, I hung myself after I saw it. So you're a people person. You talk to people.
Thanks, buddy.
And I say go for another swipe at it if it's what you want to do. And as you get older, you try to get less angry because that's what, here you were. Look at you. You had this stardom. It was a phenomenon. And then everybody ends up hating that. Everybody ends up hating their own phenomenon.
Of course.
Everybody.
And so many of the fans want the show back, and I just don't know how to explain that. We did it, and we're very...
I think you'd make a lot of people happy if you came back and did your own thing in your way.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to... I'm growing the podcast, and then, honestly, we'll just see in the end where it goes. But are you going to have any more kids there, Bob Saget?
No, I am clipped, and that's a good 3 to 4 minutes of my new hour.
Oh, good.
It's funny you mentioned about, I tell you I got a vasectomy, and then I tell you about my new hour.
Yeah. Is it horrifying to get a vasectomy? I don't know if I'll ever do it.
Oh, I got the home kit. It was really easy. It's kind of like a corkscrew, and you slam it in a drawer,
Right.
and it's just
Jesus.
it's minutes.
Right.
It takes minutes.
Oh, nice.
And you're unconscious by the time they find you, but
Yeah.
but they say you can get they can find its way back, and
Sure.
you could have swimmers again. But no, we don't want to. My wife didn't want to have them, and I didn't want to have any more, and so it kind of made sense for us. So.
I asked that because I was watching that show the other night, and your pal John Stamos was on, and he's got a young kid. I'm like, wow, man, good for him. But
yeah, he loves that kid. The kid's the cutest kid in the world.
Oh, gorgeous! But
I love that kid. But I'm 63, so if I had a kid, I don't want to be 85 and take the kid to a graduation at high school and
right.
I don't want to do that. I mean, I don't think I'm dying. I can't die. I've got too much to take care of,
Yeah.
And I want to be alive and enjoy life. My oldest daughter said if I had a kid that I would probably drop it. Dad, I don't think you should have one. You're going to drop it in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't take Ambien anymore. You don't have to worry. It's okay.
Right, exactly.
Do you want to have more kids?
Man, yeah.
If you got a young woman there, you could do it.
I wish I was. I kind of wish I was younger, but my son will just raise the kid, I guess. What the hell? My dad did that. I think my dad, if he was alive, would be 90 this year, and his youngest brother was like 20 some odd years younger than him. So like my uncle kind of looked at my dad as his father, more or less, because the father wasn't around.
Right.
So man, my grandma got it on. She was having kids for over 20 something years, man. Could you imagine?
I know people that have done that. I talked to somebody the other day. They had like 10 kids. They just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. So it doesn't stop. So you never really have your life, but they want that to be their life, and that's kind of beautiful if that's what they want.
I look at it as my life. I mean, I can't even imagine my life before my wife and my kids at this point. I'm totally fine that this is...
Are you all kind of enjoying the quarantine because you get to spend time with them that you wouldn't normally get to?
100%. And
yeah.
I'm an introvert by nature too, so I don't have to make any excuses anymore. I'm just here, and
I know.
And you're in your house.
The breakfast with you really meant that you liked me.
Yes, I didn't do it often. I had a lot of invites with people over the years. I was like, and I like keeping to myself when I'm not doing all this stuff. I like to surf cast and do a lot of fishing and hang with my family and not many people, and that's just how I am, I guess. That's why it's so weird that I went into broadcasting, because it doesn't make sense.
I'm the same way. I mean, I seem like an extrovert, but the more I'm doing what I'm doing right now is the more I'm feeling kind of probably how you've always felt.
Yeah.
Not being able to go out and perform for a lot of people, always having to be on. It's a different kind of on. It's like your brain's turned on.
Right.
And you're communicating, but then when you're done with that, you do your life,
100%. You really think comedy's going to come back? I mean, obviously we need comedy, but I mean, when do they open up the comedy clubs again?
I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they will. I actually, on my schedule right now, have some date in Denver in July. We're either going to do it or move it. I don't see it happening, but I haven't canceled it. They haven't canceled it.
Right.
So everybody's just floating and waiting.
I think the game changer is when they finally come up with drugs where you don't really die from this anymore. And then finally you could truly start opening things up. Before that, it's just scary. I mean, I liked what you said about them opening up the beaches, and it's basically like that scene out of Jaws with, I think it was Mayor Vaughn, right? In Jaws?
I don't want to know or even think that somebody got sick because of something I brought together.
Yeah.
I do think people need to laugh more than anything, but right now it's just going to be the way it's going to be. You can't put them in a room.
No.
Jacksonville opening their beaches, that's like, Roy Scheider being told by the mayor, open the beach.
Yeah.
We got to do business. And it's like, and the shark eats everybody.
Yeah. I thought that scene in Jaws was such an exaggeration at the time, laughing. I'm like, oh, politicians, they're kind of crazy to begin with. But now we're living through it where that scene is pretty damn accurate. You got mayors all over the place going, nope, we're opening up the nail salons and the massage places and restaurants, and go continue your life. And there's a lot of us.
And it's we want life to come back. We need small business to do well. And small businesses weren't bailed out like we were told they were going to be. But that goes political, and I don't want, that's the painful part.
Yeah, you don't have to. But we obviously got to start opening up parts of this country, but we just got to be smart about it. I don't know if being smart about it is opening up, nail salons and places where you get massages and stuff. But
that's the real problem. I need to get my nails done.
Well, and your hair, right? How are you handling the hair?
I've always had, my crown is what I get colored, because I've always had like a yarmulke of gray.
Okay.
And I've had it a long time, 20 years, but it got really bad. For a while, I didn't even care. I would just comb it.
Yeah.
And then it got really thin, and then it wasn't thin anymore because I put the Propecia on the thing and or whatever, that Rogaine type stuff. And so that kept me from... helped me keep my hair nice and strong, and took vitamins. But now I got a little skunk in the back. But everything you do now is straight to camera, so I'm fine. I haven't gone gray yet. It's just that it's like a birthmark. It's like, I don't know. Somebody told me they were using a yarmulke as a face mask, and I'm like,
well, yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea, because no Jewish person's ever washed a yarmulke. So you're basically breathing through an old Jewish man's scalp.
Oh my God.
I don't think that'll protect you.
Well, they're also using bras and tampons.
Yeah, half of I was using my mother's old underpants, but she's been gone for 10 years.
Right. we should end with a laugh, man. You've been very generous with your time, Bob Saget.
Well, I'm crazy about you. So I think you should do this. I think you should do whatever, if it organically happens.
That's
it's not
what I'm
something
looking
you're
for.
pushing for, and that's what makes it attractive.
Yeah.
That's when they come after you, is when you're not pushing for it.
Yeah.
But you're still doing it, and you still got your audience, and you do it because you love it. And that's the key to the whole thing. This podcast I'm doing is because I want to do it.
Right.
And that's it. And I love that it goes around the world. I'm crazy about that.
Yeah.
Because we weren't there.
No.
10 years ago, you didn't do something, and all of a sudden it's around the whole world.
Oh, it's creepy to think where this whole thing is at, because when I started in radio, my dream was to be syndicated in other cities, and that finally happened, but the technology wasn't there. That was a really hard thing to do. You had to find another radio station that would agree to, take your radio show and all that. And Today I put up an episode, and within an hour I'm looking at analytics, and it's like, wait, people are downloading this in South Korea right now. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Just insane.
My podcast is sponsored by the wet market. That's a bad joke, everybody.
I like it.
Not a good one.
I kind of like it, though. A little old school Bob Saget.
It's inappropriate, and
it's okay.
That's what we both have always been in that area.
It's okay.
Where say what you're not supposed to say, and it doesn't mean my God, if you want to hear feeling out of me, it's constant. My feeling for you too.
Yeah.
We watch the news, we go, oh my God. Well, these people in the hospitals are taking care of people.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my God, they're sent from. If you believe in God, that's where they're coming from. These people are just
100%.
It's amazing, and if you don't, they're just heroes. They're just beautiful, amazing people. And I watched someone on a show the other night, and she said, a nurse, and she said, I just want you to know, if you weren't able to come and see your mom or your dad, and they passed away, that they got love the whole time.
Right.
And when you FaceTime with them, and I held the phone on my phone, that we gave them so much love and told them all the time how much you loved them, and so they didn't die without a connection to you. And that's like,
wow,
such evolved humanity to be able to understand all that.
Yeah, it's sad that it took this, but some great things are coming out of it. You're seeing what humanity is capable of. That's for sure. And I do want to make I want to make this point, because you made that joke, and I think it's lost on the young people today. But if you joke about something like the coronavirus, let's say, which is the hot topic right now, people think you don't take the coronavirus seriously, or you don't have compassion for the nurses and the cashiers and everybody else that's fighting this invisible war. But you could make jokes about something and also take that topic very seriously. And I don't know why the youth today don't understand that point.
No, they don't get sarcasm or care about it.
Yeah.
But I don't like to be that guy that says, "Oh, the youth today," because then I'm that guy.
I know. You're right.
So but there's that's the thing that's been making me feel good about doing the podcast is the young people are just like they're getting it. They understand what facetiousness is. They know what satire is. I mean, all the best movies that came out of the '60s that protested the Vietnam War were so many of them were about the rebellion toward that, like Catch-22 and Harold and Maude, all these movies of the '60s and '70s that reflected back on why did we fight these wars. You know? So, I mean, we're going to be seeing a lot of that with a lot of the arts, and then people will be mad at everybody and we'll probably have a Red Scare again. They'll do some kind of McCarthyism type thing.
Yeah.
If you're not patriotic enough, and I'm damn patriotic. I love that there's good people in this country that really do care, and they're from all over. It doesn't matter what side of the. I don't know what. I think we should take the aisles out of everything. The man on the other side of the aisle. Just take out the aisles. Make it like Westbury Music Hall. Do theater in the round.
Right. Can't we all just get along? Yeah, I like to focus on the positive these days. Hey, last question. Are you really into strange animals?
I always have been. It's funny. John Oliver and I are friendly, and he, every broadcast he has, he ends up, when in doubt, bring out a marsupial or bring out, some odd turtle. And I'm sorry, I love that bird, and I don't care who knows it. Now back to, the president.
Right.
But I just always find it funny. I mean, I was in bed with my wife the other night, and we heard a giant thump. It turns out I got an owl who went crazy and was hitting all the air conditioners upstairs on the top of the house, and went after a mouse, just a little field mouse that was on the roof. I don't know how he got there. Yeah. And then the mouse got chased or dragged and took his own life and jumped off the roof next to the pool. Yeah. And then it took a while for him. I thought he was dead, but then the next day he rolled over. So, so animal stuff is you almost can't offend anybody with animal stuff. That's probably why it is. And I don't like people look at animal porn. That I'm against. I that's why I clear my browser constantly.
Yeah, of course. You got to do that alone.
I don't know how it gets on there. And I didn't know goats were like that.
Right. You got to do that stuff alone when no one's home.
Imagine how conflicted a centaur is.
Yeah. Wow, animal humor. I like it. Hey, you know how weird my podcast has gotten? I went and did an episode with a red-tailed hawk. My friend has a red-tailed hawk, and that's his hobby. And we went hunting with his red-tailed hawk in an open field. It was beyond fascinating. I loved it.
They scare me, hawks. I think that aren't they capable of attacking us?
I guess.
Maybe just when we're unconscious or dead.
Well, no, in California, they take those little dogs away. Don't turn your back, man. I mean, there's red-tailed.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. They're in the sky, and they're more than.
Yeah, you don't want to see your baby in the air in a hawk's mouth.
Oh my God, no! Can you imagine? Jesus.
Why we take the baby to the park? There's a lot of hawks around here.
Yeah.
I don't know. They said hawks were gone. They migrated.
Right. Aren't they extinct? They don't do that anymore. I don't know, man. I sort of remember a story about that a bunch of years ago where somebody's kid or something.
No, it happened.
Okay.
I know it happened.
Okay, yeah. All right. So Bob,
well, I'm going to go back to bed because I've been going since this morning. So I'm going to actually take a nap like a good little schoolboy.
Beautiful. I'm a big fan of the naps. I appreciate it. You absolutely.
I'm so happy to talk to you.
Yeah, you made time
give my
for
love
me.
to the whole family. Don't creep the kids out in case they see my stand-up, but tell them I said my best.
Absolutely. And I'll be checking out the podcast. I'm halfway through the first episode. It just dropped. It's called Bob Saget's Here for You, and it's going to be a good listen, Bob. Congratulations, man.
Thanks so much, man. It was really nice to talk to you. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, Bob. Thank you so much, all right?
Stay safe. Don't let anybody come in the house like I did today. I got an exterminator in the house. You know I'm going to come down with rat fever or something.
Just don't do that. It's
I can't help it. I had to get rid of a rat.
I guess. That's how we end. I guess.
That's right. I guess.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
To be continued. Have a great one.
All right, Bob. Don't be a stranger.
No, same here. Hit me up. Text me anytime.
Hey buddies, Creamy Butters here. Just hopping in my car. I'm on my way to a job interview. Very exciting. But first I wanted to give a real quick Bob Saget story. The UAW sent me and my head maintenance guy, Tom, very nice guy, Irish. So, sent us out to the Black Lake, Michigan for a safety conference. Fun time, great time, learned a lot about safety. But we're flying back from Detroit, Michigan. There's these two beautiful Korean women dressed like schoolgirls at the bar. Really, they're just amazingly beautiful and perfect. Amazing. And I'm staring at them, ogling them. I go, wow, whoever sits with those two ladies on the flight home is a lucky, lucky man. So we're boarding the plane, right? I get seated first. They sit next to me. Imagine my surprise. How awesome. Two beautiful Korean women dressed like schoolgirls for some reason sit next to me. Now my maintenance guy, Tom, he walks by. He's finally getting seated. He walks by me and he slaps me in the back of the head and he starts motherfucking me all the way down the aisle. Motherfucking fat fucking motherfucker. So the flight from Detroit to Logan Airport in Boston, it was just like 3 hours of awkward conversation that they didn't understand, of me just trying to connect as a human being. I don't even know why I wanted to sit with them. I wasn't going to hit them or anything. I'm a married man. So the flight's over. We're getting our luggage, right? And Tom goes, I almost came back to see if you wanted to switch seats. I'm all, why the hell would I want to switch seats? I was with two beautiful Korean women dressed like schoolgirls. He goes, I was sitting with Bob Saget. No, you fucking weren't. You fucking were not sitting with Bob Saget. And then fucking Bob Saget walks by with his fucking suitcase and he goes, hey, Tom, it was nice, really nice to meet you. And I'm sitting there dumbfounded and Bob Saget quickly starts walking away. And I go to run after him because I want to say hi. And Tom's all Butters, don't be a fucking fag. Just, you lost this one. That's my Bob Saget story. Listen, I hope you guys are staying safe. And rest in peace, Vic Henley. We fucking love you, man.
Boo, 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 boo. Opie Radio. Boo, 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 boo. Boom, 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 boom. Boo, 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 boo.